All right, hello, to welcome to Fredericksburg, Virginia. Kind of an odd place to do a stream from, but I wanted to do a kind of a recreation of a flight I did a couple of days ago in the JustFlight Arrow VFR, just to see kind of how things compare. I got real weather turned on, so it's not exactly the same. I had kind of clearer skies, but still VFR. And I don't know, this could be fun, so let's do it. It's a quick flight, just from Shannon Airport in Fredericksburg to Front Royal, Virginia. So it's a pretty flight. It's just a quick one across the Blue Ridge. My home airport is not here at Shannon. But I had flown here, an even quicker flight here from Manassas to just get some lunch. And it was a nice day, and I figured, let's just keep going. And I flew across the Blue Ridge. So anyway, that's the purpose of this flight, and that's it. So one thing I want to do, let's check the weather at Shannon. It's 200 at 3 are the winds. I'm still going to use runway 6 just because that's what I used in real life, and we'll accept the slight tailwind. We're still going to do a short field takeoff just like I did on I think it was Friday when I flew. Altimeter 2982. So I'm just checking that on my phone. So let me just set that before I forget. 2982. There we go. Cool. All right. So let's start it up. Beacon light's already on. I guess we kind of go over the startup procedures, and I'll maybe point out some differences between this Arrow and mine. One, this is an Arrow 3, and I fly an Arrow PA-28R200, 1969. It's an older Arrow, different wing, shorter fuselage. This one's got a longer fuselage and a lot more room in the back seat than mine has. But they fly close enough. One big difference is my airspeed indicator is in miles an hour, and this one's in knots. And there's no way that I know of to change that. So that's one big difference. But I think I figured out how to fly this by the book. Power settings are kind of similar in terms of, cruise and, what I like to use for descent and approach. Let's do it. So throttle, crack that 1/4 of an inch. Let's go master on. Let's open up our window. Let's turn the fuel pump on. Get some fuel. Let's pretend that we already checked the circuit breakers, avionics. Oh, okay, well, that's one difference there is I never turn that off. So now we got some fuel. Mixture comes back. Fuel pump off. Clear prop. Watch out, guys. Cranking. All right. Good start. Get the mixture lean on the ground so we don't foul our plugs. Close that. Oil pressure's good in the green before 30 seconds. It's good. Avionics. Come on. Turn the panel lights up a little bit here too. I love the lighting in here. This is not real time. It's actually nighttime where I am right now in the DC area. But I flew this VFR during the day, so we're going to recreate that. And we'll use our, what is this, PMS 50 GTN 750. The free version. It'll roll from Kilo, Echo, Zulu, Foxtrot, KEZF, Shannon. 2 Kilo Foxtrot Romeo Front Royal, Warren County. So that's good. That's it. Direct. Easy day. And we're not on VATSIM. There is actually I think Washington Center and from the top down is actually not online anyway. No sense going on VATSIM. honestly, I wasn't talking to anybody on the radio except Unicom during this flight anyway. You don't have to, and I actually did not get flight following. I usually do, but didn't get it for this flight. I monitored Potomac approach when I was en route, but anyway. All right, so what I'd like to do, if I can figure out how to do it, let's set our timer just for the fuel now that we started the engine. I'm going to hand fly this the whole way too. We're going to go at 4,500. It's a good westbound VFR cruising altitude. And then we'll drop it down kind of once we clear the Blue Ridge. We'll start to descend, and I'll show you. You kind of have to get down pretty quick because Front Royal sits in a valley right as soon as you clear the ridge. So it's kind of a fun little approach. And then we'll fly the traffic pattern for runway 10, which is also kind of fun because you fly the downwind pretty much directly at a hill. And when you get close to the hill, turn base. So let's do it. So what we'll do, let's taxi out over yonder there and do a quick run up. And we'll just kind of do it by the book today. Heads up, guys. You've been warned. Don't look. Oh, that's brutal. He didn't even move. He's just standing there picking his nose. This airport has a really cool aviation museum, by the way. If you ever get out to the Northern Virginia area, go to Shannon Airport. Check out the aviation museum. It's pretty epic. They've got a Vultee. It's an old airliner. And they have a DC-3. And are those deer on the... No, I thought those were deer on the runway. Those are the approach indicators. I think they're the old school kind. I actually got to sit in the DC-3. It was epic. But more on that some other time. All right, so let's check our flight instruments. Airspeed indicator indicating 0. Attitude indicator looks good. Altimeter set. Turn coordinator looks pretty good. Let's set our heading bug to 060 for departure, and we'll set our course at let's say N327. So that's pretty good. All right. Radios will pretend it's set to Unicom. Transponders set Squawking VFR. We're not going to use our autopilot, but let's hit the suicide switch, put that in GPS mode. That is all good. Flight controls. Go forward. Left. It's funny because I can see the elevator in mine. Down. Full left. Back to neutral. Trims set just aft of neutral. I don't have electric trim. And for the takeoff, we'll do a short field takeoff, so that's 25 degrees of flaps. Running up full power. Rotate at 60 miles an hour, which I guess is about 55 knots. Good to go. All right, run up. So we run this up to 2100. It's kind of hard to see that around the yoke. Mag check. Right mag. It's a bigger drop than I usually get, but whatever. And that's the way the RPM creeps up is not realistic. It's a pretty quick drop, and then back. Pitot heat on. Let's check for a jump on the ammeter. That's good. Cycle the prop once. Check oil pressure. That's good. Twice. Manifold pressure and RPM. Manifold pressure should have dropped a little more, I think. RPM drops pretty quick too, and it doesn't creep back up. And then one more time, check for oil on the windscreen. I don't see any. Windscreen looks incredibly clear. Somebody did a good job clearing that. And then we'll do an idle check. And this should have been full forward. I'll pull this back to idle. Now RPMs drop pretty immediately. It doesn't slowly fall off like that. It should idle right about there. 700. Actually, it's a little low, but that's all right. All right, back up to 1,000 RPM. Lean the mixture back out for ground ops. All right. Let's do it. I don't even have Navigraph up. I mean, I guess we could put it up just to show our route, but we've got the movie map on the GTN 750, so we won't do that. Shannon Traffic Arrow 1202 Romeo is going to back taxi down for runway 6 departure at Shannon. All right, let's go. And we'll accept a little bit of a tailwind just for the sake of recreating the flight. There we go. I feel like I'm sitting a little bit too far to the yeah, this isn't quite centered up right, but that's all right. I think we're good here. By the way, this is very, well, all right, I was going to say this is very accurately recreated. Those houses are not there, but the trees are definitely there. It's hard to spot this airport from the air, and that field is exactly the way it looks in real life. So this is really close. All right, there's 6. My toe brakes on these rudder pedals are just awful. It's not a short runway. I think it's about 3,000 feet. I mean, they landed DC-3 in here, but we'll do a short field takeoff anyway. Let's line it up with the runway here. So short field takeoff in my Arrow. I don't know about this one. Now we're using up too much runway. We fail our check ride here. Is plus 25, we'll run it up full power, release brakes, check in the engine indications, and then rotate around. I'm going to call it at about 55 knots, flying ground effect. Gear's going to come up, and then we'll retract the flaps incrementally and climb out at VY, and then we'll break off to the northwest. All right. Shannon Traffic Arrow 1202 Romeo is departing runway 6 at Shannon. All right, lights. Where's my landing light? All right, my switch is working. Lights, good. Fuel pumps on. Transponder set. Lights, camera, action. Mixtures full rich. All right, let's go. Slowly adding power. Full power. Engine instrument screen. Release the brakes. A little bit of right rudder. Center line. That bus better not come out in the runway. Airspeed's alive. That bus better stop. There's 50. Rotate. And ground effect. Accelerating. Alright. Positive rate. Gears coming up. That's the gear unsafe warning. That's fine. Disregard that. Let's get a pitching for. Alright. Flaps 1. Alright, flaps are out. Let's make that turn to the west. Trimming. I find trim is very difficult to control in this airplane, to be quite honest with you. I don't know why. But it does not react. It's hard to trim this plane out. Alright. Shannon Traffic Arrow 1202 Romeo is departing the pattern to the west at Shannon. Let's bring the prop back a little bit here. Climb. Yeah, it's way too aggressive of a climb rate. We don't climb at 1,500 feet per minute, not in my Arrow anyway. Good luck doing that. It's a little bit better there. All right, we can lean a little bit in the climb here. Yeah, there's that trim, not really acting like it's supposed to act. We're gonna go to 4,500. Zoom out here a little bit. There is a restricted area off to the north there, and then there's a MOA, but we can fly through the MOA, so I'm not too concerned about that. There's two. Even the manifold pressure in and the climb. I just want to make sure I'm clear of the restricted. I would definitely have 4 flight out right now with the moving map. It's a little bumpy here. Huh. So that's pretty realistic in terms of little convective bumpiness off the ground. All right, at this point, we'll just go direct to Front Royal. Activate that, and let's head out on our way to Front Royal. That climb rate, come on. Vertical speed showing pretty aggressive climb there. I don't climb at 1,000 feet per minute. That is going to result in some pretty low airspeed. Let's get back on our course. That wants to sit about. And I think we'll hold it right about here. That's pretty good. Sink our heading bug if we can. Doing a lot at once here. It's kind of tricky to do this in VR, to be quite honest with you. There we go. Just give us a little visual cue to follow. Still a little bit to the front. There we go. That's kind of where I need to be. Yeah, that's still not quite right, but all right. We're just going to go with this viewpoint here. Climbing like a rocket, almost like it's cold out. See, it's once you get the trim set, you don't need to mess with back pressure on the yoke or anything like that in real life. This is just too touchy in my opinion. Good. Climbing out of 4,500. Might have a little bit of a left crosswind because we're getting blown off our course a little bit. Correct back. Decent intercept angle here. Just hold it here. Alright. About 100 to go. We can start to level off a little bit here. And trim off some of the pressure if we can. No, see, we're still climbing. I don't have it trimmed yet. There we go. That's pretty good. Oh. All right, let's go ahead and bring our manifold pressure back to 24. We can lean the mixture for cruise checks. Fuel pump can come off. Whoops, fuel pump can come off. Landing light can come off. We're not using the automation. Cruise checks complete. Very good. That's pretty much what it looks like. This is pretty close right here. Actually, this weather's not too off from what I had on Friday. It's a little more clouds than I had, but still pretty good. Wandering off our altitude a little bit too much for my liking. Try to hold ourselves to commercial standards here, people. See how I'm working the yoke. The trim is not. It's just not right. Maybe it's just the way I have the the what do you call it? Electric trim is maybe too touchy or not touchy enough. I don't know. It's just really hard to work this in VR, to be honest. I mean, in reality, I just have my hand down here, you know, my hand on the trim wheel, trimming it out. But it's just too difficult in VR. So thank goodness we have electric trim on this airplane. Looking good. Nice scenery here on the fields of Northern Virginia. Maybe I should have pulled up Navigraph, but that's all right. It's doing things a little... I was going to say we're doing things old school with a 750. I do not have a 750. I have the old reliable GNS 430. It's WAS capable, so that was a great job for what I need it to do. Single pilot IFR connects up to the Aspen, and the what do I have? True Track, dual axis autopilot. We do have autopilot in this one. This is it's got the old Auto Control 3, and then JustFlight added an altitude hold feature. I'm not sure if the real Auto Control 3 has that or not, but they do have. They have included if you hit that outer ring there, it'll altitude hold. But we're gonna hand fly it. It's not a very long flight. It's 40 miles to go. Basically, again, it's once we clear the ridge. This ridge is dead ahead. We're gonna kind of take not a dive, but we're gonna start to descend pretty rapidly, as safely, safely allowable, down into the valley. There we go. That's pretty good right there. Just hold that heading. Just constantly cross-checking the instruments, even in VFR, just doing a scan, especially with the way the trim is on this. I mean, I'm constantly having to sort of fight the yoke. Hands off flying right now. It's pretty good. As we go down, airspeed increases, and then it's going to make the plane kind of climb a little bit, so eventually it'll kind of level itself out. This is pretty good right here. Down to the south, southwest, that's going to be Charlottesville, kind of out there somewhere. Lake Anna, it might be Lake Anna over there to the left. It's a big kind of recreational lake. Actually, we might not be there quite yet. Here's Warrenton Airport, Hotel Whiskey Yankee Highway. Let's see if we can see it. I'm not seeing it. Oh, maybe that's it down there. It is pretty hard to spot these smaller airports, especially the ones that are kind of tucked into the forests. Front Royal is actually pretty easy to spot. It's out kind of in a valley in a plain. But yeah, the scenery is pretty, I mean, it's real. This is exactly what it looks like. I mean, for X-Plane, I've got orthos. Yeah, I've got the Fork Boy orthos, which are really good. These are this, I guess, Bing photo scenery is really, really good too. I'm not sure which one I think is more accurate, honestly. I think Microsoft's got the VFR scenery pretty much beat. Pretty much down pat. And the weather is, you can't beat it. I'm not sure. I mean, I've seen some screenshots and videos of X-Plane 12. I'm hoping that it's like this, but I'm not quite sure. Yeah, still fighting the yoke and the trim a little bit. Doing a half decent job of maintaining our course. So one way to do this is you can see off in the distance, there's like a notch in the mountains there, a little pass off our nose. That's a good way to go. We'll take it direct and we'll go over the higher ridge. Just it's not that high. I mean, 4,500, it's enough to clear it for sure. I've done, actually it was the first time I'd been to Front Royal when I went there Friday. I just kind of went on a whim. I'd never been there. I wanted to get a stamp in my Virginia Aviation passport book. I just never had a reason to go there, and it was a beautiful day, and I had time to kill, and I just wanted to keep flying, so I just went on out there. It's pretty cool. They have it's like an Air National Guard F-86 Sabre sitting up on blocks. You can walk around it and look at it. It's pretty cool. But back at Shannon, they had a DC-3 on the ramp, and I was taking pictures of it, and a guy came out and he said, came out of one of the hangars, like, hey, you want a better picture? I thought he was just going to show me a better angle, take the pictures, and he had a key in his hand, and he opened up the aft passenger door and pulled the air stairs down, and I was thinking, oh man, this is awesome. So he let me in, was talking about it, let me sit in the captain's seat, slid the window open, had my arm out the window, and he ran down to the ramp and snapped some pictures. And it's pretty cool. Still, it flies actively, and they're restoring it. They're restoring the interior to be an old Eastern Airlines motif. I think they're going to paint it like the Eastern livery too. And then they're going to take people up on passenger rides, kind of like a throwback airliner trip, like 50 miles around the area. But I said, yeah, let me know when you're gonna start that. Sign me up, I'm in. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, we're 100 feet off our altitude. Let's get back down to where we need to be here. Yeah, 28 miles to go. Like I said, this is a quick flight, and it's quick in real life too. It's just a fun jaunt across the mountains, change the scenery a little bit. And I say mountains, I mean this is the Blue Ridge. It's not even close to the Rockies or the Alps or anything like that. No joke though in terms of just the mountain turbulence that gets kicked up when it's windy. I've had some pretty nasty excursions flying along the east side of it. Actually, the worst turbulence I ever had in my life was flying along the east side of the Blue Ridge, coming back from the Raleigh area. I think my head hit the headliner. I lost about 1,000 feet. It was pretty, it wasn't scary, but it wasn't pleasant. On a day when there were no PIREPs, it's clear air turbulence just kicked my butt. Good. And you know what? I think we'll go ahead and switch tanks since we've only got a little bit of time left, and I don't want to do this going over the mountains. So let's fuel pump on and monitoring our fuel flow, and we'll switch tanks. Fuel flow is still good, as is fuel pressure, and that can come off. We can reset the timer. How do we do that? There we go. Good. We won't need to switch tanks again. That should do it. So let me check the weather one more time real quick on my phone. Hopefully we're not wandering too far. It's trimmed out pretty nicely. Wind's calm. Clear below 12,000. 2986 on the altimeter. So we'll pretend that we got the ATIS, or AWAS, I guess, ASUS 2986. Is that what I said? All right. So that's Yeah, see that pass over there to the right? That's a good way to get in. That's the town of Front Royal over there. Looking good. Beautiful. They do a lot of gliding on the west side of these ridges here. I guess the thermals are good. I don't know anything about gliding. All I know is you don't have an engine. So what we'll do is cross midfield and then do a teardropper in. Because we're still going to need to lose altitude. Can't really cross midfield and do it. Well, you could cross midfield and do a direct entry, but in my opinion, we're going to be too fast. Just because of the altitude that we need to lose, because we can't get too low, obviously, due to the geography that's in front of us right now. Why do I feel when I cross these ridges, I was a little more to the west, but I don't know. Maybe I was on a slightly different track. I think I did skirt even the MOA around Quantico, so I think I did start out kind of a little more southwest. Or a little more due west, rather. So yeah, we'd have CTAF tuned up right now and be listening, hear what people are doing. It's calm, so you can use either runway. At the time I flew in here, I think the winds were whatever it was that they were using 10. So I used 10. And honestly, it's a kind of a fun. It's not a world's most dangerous approaches, but it's kind of fun and challenging in terms of VFR pattern entries or pattern to approach to fly. And now it's trimmed out pretty nicely, actually. I'm not making any pitch movements on the yoke, just sort of some gentle aileron movements that keep us on the right heading. This is not going to be the most thrilling stream in the world, to be honest with you, but if you do like it, hit like, maybe subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. That is pretty nice right there. Very realistic. Screenshot that. Oh, you know what we can do? Let's go outside real quick. Yeah. All right. There's a good screenshot right there. All right, I think I can't control the airplane when we're outside. Take a screenshot of that later, maybe. Let's do one more. That's a good screenshot right there. All right, yep. All right, enough of that. Make a radio call. Front route traffic, Aero 1202 Romeo is 12 miles to the southeast. We're going to overfly midfield and then teardrop for the left downwind 10 front row. I'm actually not on that sim, but it doesn't hurt to practice. There's the town of Front Royal through that pass. As soon as we clear that first ridge, we'll start down. I probably could have this leaned out a little bit more. It's all right. Lean it out to just a tick under 10 gallons an hour. clear that first ridge, we should start to see the airport. Very nice. It's kind of a series of ridges. You clear the first one, and then actually we can start down a little bit here. So I usually reduce power to about 20, 21 inches, and it'll just give me a nice 500 feet per minute descent rate. Let's see what we get. That's pretty good right there. So that's pretty accurate. That is pretty accurate. We don't want to get too close to those ridges. Enriching the mixture a little bit here. So this is visual, so we're just kind of keeping an eye out for terrain clearance here. Again, you don't want to get too close. Altitude is your friend. Feet on the rudder pedals here. Yeah, that's pretty close. So 20 inches, 500 feet. I'm not touching the yoke. I'm not trimming. And it's 700 feet. Anything more than about 700, passengers' ears start to get a little uncomfortable with just passing 4,000. So that ridge in the distance there, where it kind of starts to go up, that's the hill that you sort of fly at on downwind for 10. I think I see the airport. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bug 010. And then here I'll bug put this to the reciprocal. It's 280. Looking good. If we can get a good screenshot here, I don't know. Let's see. That could be a good one. All right. Enough about screenshots. Let's worry about not crashing. You see the airport right off the nose there, and that's the trick with this is you got to get down, but you don't want to smack into the mountains. Let's reduce power a little bit more here and enrichen the mixture a little bit as we descend. Pattern altitude, by the way, 1,700 feet. Airport elevation 700. We got our altimeter set. Yeah, this is pretty darn accurate. What we can do too is make a little jog to the west, because then we can cross perpendicularly. That is the Shenandoah River that meanders down the valley here. That's a pretty excessive descent rate. So we'll cross at 2,200 hopefully, and that's 500 above pattern altitude, and then once we cross we can start to descend. Front row traffic, Aero 02 Romeo is about 4 miles to the southeast. We're going to cross midfield at 2,200, then teardrop entry left downwind 10 front row. Good. There's 2,400. We don't want to get too low because we don't want to interfere with other traffic that might be in the pattern that is not talking, which happens a lot in these untowered, uncontrolled airports. You get, you know, cubs and all kinds of traffic that may not even have a radio. We'll lose the remaining 500 feet in the teardrop. I'm going to give myself kind of a wider teardrop. I don't want to cut it too close in. There's the airport down there, looking good. Let's leave the power setting here. Mixture can be Not full rich, but a little richer than that. All right, we're going to cross midfield here. Don't want to descend too much. I want to keep my speed a little bit low. All right, and now we'll fly out a few track miles here, and we can actually start to come down a little more. A little bumpy. Okay. When we get down to pattern altitude, we'll swing it back in. I don't mind flying a little farther out to make a decent entry. It's no use rushing it. Bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. All right, let's go ahead and start our turn in. And we don't want to get too low. So we don't want to get too low. Keeping my eye out for the airport. Also, I don't want to be too high either. This is actually a lot harder in VR than it is in real life. I hope we didn't start this turn too soon. Now I think we're going to be right on it. Yep, we're going to be good. Front rail traffic, Arrow 1202 Romeo is going to be entering A45 now for the left downwind, 10 at front rail. It's going to be a full stop. All right. So I think that worked out okay. Let's get on the downwind. At this point, our landing light can come on. Where is it? There it is. Fuel pump can come on. We're getting a little low. Gear it come down. We're pretty much going to aim at that hill. Need to slow it down to get into flap extension range. First notch. Mixture can come rich. It's rather bumpy. Gears down 3 green. Landing lights on. It's 90 knots. That's pretty good. It's a little hazy out there. I don't want to descend too much here. Wow, this would be a little unnerving here with all this mist. Let's go ahead and start our turn. Front rail traffic, Arrow 1202 Romeo is turning left base 10 front row. So this is unexpected. I'd be getting a little, not nervous here, but I'm not sure I would really care for all this mist that all of a sudden popped out. And we're a little low. Front rail traffic, Arrow 1202 Romeo is turning final 10 front row. Just need to start slowing it down a little bit too. I can trade some airspeed for altitude. At this point, the prop can come forward. We can roll out on final here. Oh, we overshot our final a little bit. We'll go ahead and put the last notch of flaps in. We're very fast. All right. That tree is not there in real life. We will clear it. Pulling power out. Whoop. Maintaining center line. Holding it off. Looking down the end of the runway. Using rudder. Oh, wow, that was ugly. Now we got it down. Now welcome to front royal. Dump the flaps. Yoke is full aft, just aero braking, rolling it out. Gentle braking. Oh, come on. I don't like the way the brakes work on these pedals. That was kind of ugly. I'm going to blame Microsoft's ground effect implementation. But we're here, front royal. So that's it. Pretty realistic. The approach was almost exactly what the approach looks like in real life. So cool. Yeah, just minor complaints about how this airplane handles with trim, and then just Microsoft's ground effect is really bad. I mean, that I can't even. My toe brakes are so bad I can't even get us lined up on the tie down here. So yeah, that's it. Quick one, but pretty realistic. Again, complaints about just the flight modeling and the ground effect. The approach was not that, the winds are calm here, according to the ASUS, and that getting kicked around like that and not being able to control it that low on final is not realistic. But in VR, all in all, not bad. So anyway, thanks. Let's shut it down so we can, the avionics can come off. Landing light's already off. This back to 1,000, and then mixture can come cut off, and that happens for some reason. Continue, and master off, mags off. That's it. Well, thanks. I hope you all enjoyed the quick one, and yeah, we'll maybe do another one on the JustFlight Arrow at some point soon. So hit like, subscribe if you want to, and talk to you soon. Bye.